It's no secret that the greatest secrets are often hiding in plain sight. Ironic, right? They're right in front of us, yet we fail to recognize them for what they are. They hold the key to unlocking new possibilities, yet we remain blind to their existence and potential. What if I told you that one of these secrets, the biggest one of all, is trying to interact with you every single second of your life, and you're unaware you're blocking it? Actually, that's why most people never achieve financial abundance and are destined to live in scarcity. Ancient scholars referred to this secret as the hidden element, and for good reason. The hidden element can make you a very wealthy person, and that's just part of it. Throughout history, it's been responsible for achievements of monumental proportions. From people accumulating unimaginable wealth to ancient armies effortlessly conquering entire civilizations. Have you ever heard of Mansa Musa? He was a 14th century emperor. His wealth has been estimated to be the modern-day equivalent of $400 billion. You heard me right, $400 billion. And that's in a period of time there was zero technology. Compare this to the richest person alive today, Elon Musk, whose estimated net worth is around $190 billion. It's amazing to think that a person in a time without electricity could amass much more wealth than the richest person in modern times. How? It's perplexing, isn't it? Don't worry. Even modern scientists and scholars cannot figure this out. That's because knowledge of this hidden element has been lost throughout the years, mainly because it was considered taboo or controversial, and therefore not widely recorded or shared. But was it really lost? The consensus is yes. The reality? No, it wasn't. Always remember what I said at the beginning. It's no secret that the greatest secrets are often hiding in plain sight. If it wasn't for a chance encounter with Lorenzo, I would have continued my life like most people, never understanding how this secret, the most elemental thing in our existence, is in fact the key to everything. And here is where it gets interesting. In reality, it wasn't a chance encounter. Far from it. It was all planned. And it turns out, the knowledge of this secret has been carefully preserved and passed down through the generations by a secret society in Italy. Believe me, it was a shock for me as well. I thought secret societies exist only in Hollywood movies. So, what is this secret that only the few know of and use to attract unlimited abundance, wealth, power, and anything else you can think of? The answer is one word: sound. Sound, but not just any sound. As you will see in a minute, what's important is the hidden element, which is the mixture of frequencies within sound. With a mixture of the right frequencies, sound can do what for most people would look like magic. How do you really think the Great Pyramids in Egypt were built with zero technology? Some stones weigh 80 tons and are cut with laser precision. What about Mansa Musa accumulating a wealth of $400 billion in a period of history mostly represented by scarcity? You are about to learn that not only is it not magic, but by the end of this presentation, you will know how to use the hidden element to get whatever you want in life. And yes, that includes wealth. Hi, my name is Sophie. Growing up in a small town in the US, my family had very little. We struggled to make ends meet and lived from paycheck to paycheck. Despite our financial struggles, I had a deep passion for music. I would often find myself lost in thought, listening to the radio and dreaming of one day performing on stage. Music was a way for me to escape the harsh reality of our everyday life. I practiced for hours on end every day, and it paid off. I quickly became one of the most gifted students in my class. I remember the day everything started. In a million years, I wouldn't have guessed that that day would change the rest of my life, and soon, yours. It was a warm summer day, and I was participating in a music competition in my hometown. During the competition, I performed a piece that I had been working on for months, and to my surprise, I won first prize. As I was packing up my guitar and getting ready to leave, a tall, distinguished-looking man approached me. "Excuse me," he said. "My name is Lorenzo. I'm an instructor at a music school in Rome, Italy, and I couldn't help but notice your performance. You have a natural gift for music that I haven't seen in a long time." I was taken aback by his compliment, but also skeptical. Lorenzo must have sensed my hesitation, because he quickly added, "I know this may seem sudden, but I would like to offer you a spot in a 10-day program for gifted musicians that we're holding in Rome, Italy." He said it's a unique opportunity to learn from some of the most talented instructors in the world, and that he believed I would greatly benefit from it. "Why me?" I asked. Seriously, I didn't understand why. I mean, come on! Lorenzo smiled, but not just any smile. There was something going on. I could tell. "There may be many talented musicians out there, but you have a certain spark that sets you apart," he said. Seriously, I didn't know what to think. But as we continued talking, he explained a bit more, and I have to say, it was very tempting. So yeah, I told him I'd think about it. As I returned home, everyone was in the living room. Mom, Dad, my brother and sister, and my best friend Emily, which I completely forgot I told her to come over for dinner. "Sophie, what's wrong?" my mom asked as I entered the house. Oh gosh. I took a deep breath and told them everything. I was actually surprised. After talking for like an hour, they all encouraged me to go. Fast forward 6 days, and here I was, watching the breathtaking view of Italy from the airplane's window. After going through customs and getting my suitcase, I finally had the amazing opportunity to experience the sights, sounds, and smells of Italy. I looked around, trying to find Lorenzo, when I spotted him all well-dressed, standing in the crowd. You know, I was actually amazed how well Italian men dress. Simply impressive. "Hello, Sophie," he said with a charming smile as I approached him. "Welcome to Rome." "Thank you, Lorenzo," I replied with a nervous smile. The car ride to the hotel was beautiful, with the Italian countryside passing us by. As we were getting closer to the hotel, Lorenzo started talking about the program and how excited he was for me to be a part of it. But there was a subtle hint of something else in his voice, something I couldn't quite put my finger on. And by the way, in hindsight, I was so right, but we will get to that in a moment. "So, Sophie," he said, turning to me with a serious look on his face, "I need you to understand that this program is not like any other. It's very exclusive, and you were chosen for a reason." I felt a wave of anxiety wash over me as he spoke. I mean, he already told me what the reason was. Why is he saying it again and with such a mysterious tone? Anyway, as we arrived at the hotel, Lorenzo helped me with my bags and walked me to the front desk to check in. He wished me luck and told me he would see me soon. It's hard to explain, but I had this odd feeling in the pit of my stomach. What was he hiding? And why did I feel like I was in way over my head? As soon as I arrived at the program, I was in learn and soak up all the knowledge that I could mode. I was buzzing. During the break, as I was having coffee, Lorenzo approached me. He had this mysterious smile on his lips. I really felt my heart skip a beat. "Sophie, how are you finding the program so far?" he asked. "It's amazing. The instructors are so knowledgeable," I told him. He just nodded thoughtfully. his dark eyes fixed on mine. "That's good to hear," he said. "But I have to warn you, Sophie. There's much more to this program than what you see on the surface." I literally felt a shiver run down my spine, and I looked at him with confusion. "I mean, gosh, what now? What do you mean?" I asked. He didn't reply and just walked away, giving me a wink. At this point, I was 100% positive something was going on here. Anyway, the first day ended and I was exhausted, but so inspired, I gotta say. As I was walking out of the building, Lorenzo was standing outside, sort of leaning on his car. "Dinner?" he asked with a $1 million smile. I was starving. Throughout dinner, he kept talking about the greatness of the ancient Roman Empire. "Have you ever wondered how the Roman Empire conquered half the world, Sophie?" he asked me, looking straight into my eyes. Before I could reply, he continued. "They had power, Sophie, the kind of power that many people can only dream of. Have you ever thought what gave them that power?" I wasn't sure where this conversation was going, but I had a feeling it had something to do with more than just history. He was trying to tell me something. I was positive of that. But what? Wasn't long before he dropped the bomb. "Sophie, there's something I need to tell you. The real reason you were invited here is not for the 10-day program. That's just a cover." My heart started to race like a Ferrari from 0 to 100 miles per hour in 3 seconds. It was so obvious to me that there was something going on with this program, but to hear it from Lorenzo was a shock. I was about to ask him what is going on here when his phone rang. He apologized and answered it, then quickly got up and said he had to go. He paid the bill, ordered a taxi for me, and left. Okay. As you can imagine, I couldn't fall asleep. I just kept thinking to myself, what did I get myself into? The more I thought about it, the more restless I became. As I was getting up to take a walk and clear my head a bit, my phone rang. It was him. He sounded apologetic and asked if he could come see me. "Sophie, I'm part of a society called the Ordo Harmone. It's one of the oldest and most secretive societies in the world," he said as we were sitting in the lobby. He continued, "Its roots can be traced back to the Mithraic Mysteries, a secret society that existed in ancient Rome." Lorenzo explained that the purpose of the Ordo Harmone is to preserve the ancient sound techniques that were used by the Romans to create unimaginable amounts of wealth. According to him, this wealth is what fueled the strength and power of the Roman Empire. The society believed that by understanding the science of sound and its effects on people, they could bring about a new age of enlightenment and progress. What he was telling me was so shocking, I felt like I was in a dream. A secret society? Established over 1,000 years ago? For the sole purpose of studying and preserving the techniques of the Roman Empire? That was like something out of a movie. Lorenzo told me that this society survived for centuries and had a vast repository of knowledge passed down through generations. Knowledge that could change the world. And he believed that I was meant to be a part of it. Seems they have this well-oiled recruitment mechanism, like the CIA or any other secret organization. You have a natural talent for music, Sophie, and you have the right personality traits. We believe that you can be a part of our research team and help us develop further ancient sound techniques. I sat there in stunned silence, trying to make sense of things. Suddenly, he pulled out a small black box from his pocket. "Here," he said. "Listen to this." He carefully opened the lid and revealed what looked like a tiny crystal embedded in the center. A faint hum emanated from the box, slowly building in volume and intensity. It was a sound unlike any I had ever heard before, deep and resonant, yet somehow ethereal and otherworldly. It was as if the sound waves were massaging every fiber of my being, bringing a sense of calm and clarity that I had never experienced before. I felt it had unlocked some hidden doorway within me, revealing a whole new realm of possibilities that I had never even imagined existed. When the sound eventually faded away, I opened my eyes and looked at Lorenzo in wonder. The sound emitted from the box was far more powerful and profound than anything I had ever heard before. As I came back to focus, Lorenzo said two things. "You've been exposed, Sophie. Expect amazing things tomorrow. And take the day off. You look exhausted." Exposed to what? I was thinking to myself. What was he talking about? "Oh, and it's time for you to meet the members of the society," he continued. Next morning, I woke up feeling refreshed and full of energy. But not the normal refreshed. I mean, it was like a ton of energy was infused in me. And strangely, I realized that I was humming a tune that I had never heard before. It was as if the sound from the box had seeped into my very being and was now a part of me. What happened next was surreal, to say the least. As I walked down the street, I noticed people were smiling at me and saying hello. It was strange, but I felt like I was attracting positive energy everywhere. Now get this. I went to a cafe for breakfast, and as I was asking for the bill, the barista told me it was on the house. Then the owner approached my table and said that in the 20 years he's been running the business, he never experienced someone with so much positive energy. I couldn't believe it. And that was just the start. As I walked around, I felt something stuck to the sole of my shoe. As I looked down, I couldn't believe it. a €100 bill! Later on, as I was walking by this shop, I spotted a beautiful dress. Obviously, I couldn't afford it, but for some reason I went in anyway. Couldn't even tell you why. The girl in the shop saw me looking at it and immediately approached me. Now get this. She told me that it was on an unadvertised sale. Plus, she had an extra discount that she could apply to my purchase. I got the dress and still had €50 left from the bill I found. This was surreal. All of these positive experiences had come to me effortlessly, like if the universe was conspiring in my favor. I now understood what Lorenzo meant when he said that I was exposed and to expect an amazing day. He was talking about the sound from the box. Anyway, next day came, and it was time. As I waited in the hotel lobby for Lorenzo to pick me up, I couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and nervousness. Can you imagine? I mean, just the thought of being introduced to the members of the secret society gave me chills. I remember the following so vividly as if it happened yesterday. Lorenzo led me to a small alley, somewhere in the heart of Rome. As we walked deeper into the alley, I felt a bit uneasy. We got to this unmarked door. As soon as Lorenzo rang the bell, it opened, and he immediately led me down this spiral staircase. Wow, that's the only thing I could think of. I couldn't believe my eyes. I felt like I had just stepped into a different world. Lorenzo walked over to me and smiled. "Welcome to our laboratory," he said. "This is where the magic happens, Sophie. Here we conduct our studies on sound and frequency manipulation techniques that have been passed down for centuries." I was pumped! My adrenaline levels were going through the roof. Unfortunately, that feeling didn't last long. As I walked into this room, I was met with piercing gazes from the society leaders. I could literally sense their unease as they exchanged quick glances with each other. I had no idea what was going on. After a moment of awkward silence, the leader cleared his throat and started speaking. Miss Sophie, we have been keeping an eye on you since the first day of the program, he said. After a short pause, he continued, his voice heavy with authority. We invited you here because we believed you have a natural talent for music and could help us further uncover ancient sound techniques. However, we have reason to believe that you are not the right person for this program anymore. I was frozen. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. What do you mean? Why am I not the right person? I asked. And then he dropped the bomb. It has come to our attention that Mr. Lorenzo has developed feelings for you. This is unacceptable within our society. I was stunned. Lorenzo had been nothing but professional towards me. This is so wrong. After a short pause, which felt like hours to me, he said that all this was not my fault, and as a gesture of goodwill, he will gift me the box. From what I understood, compared to other things they were working on, the box was relatively low level. He mentioned that the society also believed that I could still be helpful to others, as helping people was part of their charter, but as long as it didn't affect their own agenda. My adventure in Rome came to an end faster than I could have imagined. But you know what? Somewhere deep inside, I was okay with it. I mean, I was truly mentally and emotionally exhausted from everything that happened since I boarded the plane in the States. On the plane back home, all I could think of was, I got the box! I couldn't wait to share it with my family, Emily, and other close friends. But I had two things to figure out. How do I replicate it? And who could help me with this? I remembered my friend Steve. Steve is a talented musician who I had met a few years ago. He also happens to have synesthesia. Synesthesia is a condition where senses get cross-wired. You experience one of your senses through another. For example, when you hear music, but you see shapes, or you hear a word or a name and instantly see a color. I got a hold of Steve and told him everything. I think he was in a bit of a shock, but tried to hide it. A few days later, we started working. We did countless sessions where he closed his eyes and listened intently to the sounds emitted by the box. He described how the sound was making him feel and the images he was seeing. After 3 weeks, we were able to identify the specific frequencies of the sound emitted by the box. A huge step forward. But that's where it all ended. We could identify the frequencies, but we couldn't replicate them. I immediately thought of Professor Harris, a very gifted physics professor who had spent years studying sound replication techniques. He also happens to be a friend of my dad. I got in touch with him and explained everything that had happened. When I finished, he simply sat back in his chair, stroking his chin, and said only 3 words. Incredible. Absolutely amazing. Over the next few weeks, we spent countless hours in his lab, experimenting with different approaches. I learned so much. I began to understand the intricacies of sound replication and frequency fine-tuning. Finally, after months of hard work, we had a replicated version. I couldn't wait to test it. Before going to bed, I turned off the TV, dimmed the lights, and put my phone on airplane mode. Then, I listened to the sound we replicated. Took around 6 minutes. Next day, I woke up feeling exactly as I did in Rome, a sense of euphoria and excitement, similar to the first time I listened to the sound. It was as if a new world had opened up to me again. Everywhere I went, I felt a heightened sense of awareness and connection to my surroundings. People were drawn to me. And catch this. 2 days later, I was offered a job at a prestigious music production company. They said they were so impressed by the demo tape I had sent them. Thing is, I sent that tape months ago. Do you know how hard it is to get into one of those companies? it's close to impossible. They get thousands of applications every month. And little did I know, all this was just a warm-up. I mean, listen to this. My mom decided it was time to clean up the attic a bit. After like 4 hours of working non-stop, I suddenly spotted an old violin. No idea where that thing came from. Maybe the past tenants left it there. It looked really old, and so I took it to this guy that does appraisals and restorations. Long story short, turns out this was an 1863 Antonio Stradivari violin worth $220,000. I couldn't believe this! I had to pinch myself to make sure I wasn't dreaming. I sold the violin, got my parents a brand new house, and paid off my dad's debt. No more working 2 and sometimes even 3 jobs for him. But I gotta tell you, the most satisfying part of all of this are the amazing things that started happening to those I shared the audio track with. At the time, my sister Jennifer was running a struggling hair salon. Overnight, the place had customers waiting in line. That success led her to open 4 additional locations and make a 6-figure monthly income. Steve, who struggled for a very long time to get any job that would pay more than minimum wage, got a job offer from this headhunter. But not any job. Because of his ability, he was offered to be a part of a very small and exclusive team in one of the top tech companies. $180,000 a year salary, a company car, and an apartment in one of the most exclusive areas in New York City. The more I shared the replicated audio track, the more amazing stories came in. Be it unexpected job promotions, income opportunities, success in their business, better relationships with friends and family, and so much more. Many even reported that they managed to stop the cravings they could never control, which made it much easier to go on a diet and keep the results. Even Emily's brother got in on the action. The guy used to go on 3 to 4 dates every week with nothing to show for. Suddenly, this girl sent him a message on one of the dating sites he was using. They've been dating for 8 months now and even thinking of getting married. One girl reported amazing success with her social media followers. After months of going nowhere, no matter what she did, suddenly she was getting on average 5,000 new followers per week. Even Martha, our neighbor, who was 62 years old and was living on a very small monthly income, managed to find a whole new life of abundance. She had this dream of opening an online store for drop-shipping pet products and got discouraged after 3 failed attempts. After sharing with her the replicated audio track, and with a bit of convincing, I got her to give her store another try. Within 2 weeks, she was doing over $9,000 in sales. But you know what I've learned most throughout this amazing journey? Helping others is the true essence of life. Achieving financial success carries a duty to use your resources to help others. That's what I believe, at least. And that's why I created Ancient Rome Decoded. I believe everyone should have an equal opportunity for a life of abundance and true wealth. It shouldn't be a privilege of the few. And you know what? It really angers me to see the elites of this world living the good life, enjoying every minute of it, taking care of their loved ones, while most people can't even pay their bills. I'm here to tell you one thing. Your life is about to change, dramatically. But for that to happen, you need to get rid of one thing that is standing in your way. Overthinking. If I would have overthought the Rome trip, I wouldn't be where I am today. I would have continued living a life of scarcity. And let me tell you, it's much more fun living a life of unstoppable abundance. Being able to buy what you want, being able to help whomever you want, having no debt worries, knowing that you will be able to retire with 0 worries. But above all, freedom. Being free mentally and financially. Being happy every single day you wake up. And you deserve it. In fact, everyone does, if you ask me. We live only once. We owe it to ourselves to live a comfortable and fulfilling life. And let me tell you, getting there is not only simple, but fun. Simply download the replicated audio, enjoy listening to it, and start a new life of abundance. And no, don't worry about the price tag. It's not $1,000 or even $500, although if it was, it would be worth every cent. This is not about money for me. I already have all the money I need and more, as you can probably figure out by now. I'll say it again. I simply believe everyone deserves an equal opportunity to live an amazing life. And you know what? At some point, I really thought of even giving it away for free. But life has taught me that what comes free to people is treated cheaply. The only way for people to actually commit themselves to treat all this seriously is if they actually make some effort. In this case, that small effort is giving something minimal in exchange. By having to exchange a small amount of money for accessing Ancient Rome Decoded guarantees you that you will take it seriously and actually use it. That's why I set the price at only $39. This basically gives me enough to pay for the expenses involved in running this website. Call me silly or whatever, but deep inside, I believe that the reason the universe chose me is not specifically to make me wealthy and successful. That was just a side product, so to speak. It's because I was probably the right messenger, the right person to connect people who really need help with this amazing gift. But remember what I said earlier. The society didn't mind if I help others, so long as it doesn't affect their own agenda. They were very clear on that. So, I really recommend you act fast. Because based on how popular Ancient Rome Decoded has become, I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow morning I get a call from them asking me to stop. Don't overthink it. I promise you will thank me later. And by the way, I know some people have a tough time taking that first step towards something new. So I've decided to make things much easier for you. Get Ancient Rome Decoded. And if for any reason you are not happy, simply send me an email within 60 days of purchase, and I will refund 100% of your money, no questions asked. This is truly a textbook example of having nothing to lose, but a new life to gain. But that's not all. I want to make your journey towards a new life of abundance as enjoyable as possible. Get Ancient Rome Decoded today, and I will add, as a bonus, 2 exclusive manuals that until now I only shared with my family and close friends. The first one is called Fast Fortune. After talking with so many Ancient Rome Decoded members, I understood that some people were a bit overwhelmed by the sudden influx of wealth into their lives. I understand, and to be honest, it's only natural. Just imagine a scenario of someone working in a normal paycheck-to-paycheck 9-to-5 job, suddenly having $500,000. So, I took it upon myself to interview hundreds of Ancient Rome Decoded users and understand what could really help them. The result is Fast Fortune, an exclusive in-house manual packed with actionable strategies for managing your money, your emotions, and your relationships. But most of all, avoiding common pitfalls. Remember, making a lot of money is just part of the whole thing. Keeping and growing it is actually much more important. Fast Fortune is valued at $97 due to the fact that it's unique information with very high demand, but yours at no cost, a gift from me. The second bonus you will get today is the center of everything, and it's simply amazing. Have you ever wondered why rich people are not truly happy? Forget about what you see from the outside. That's just a show. Most are not happy. The reason they end up with an empty life is because they fail to understand what the center of everything actually is and how to use it. Through extensive research, trial and error, and interviewing key researchers, I managed to understand that it's possible to leverage the results of Ancient Rome Decoded to reach high levels of happiness and fulfillment. This is a very exclusive report, which I felt was important to you to have as you start this amazing journey towards a new life. Valued at $97 and worth every cent, the center of everything is yours as a complimentary bonus. At this point, everything is ready for you to succeed. You are literally minutes away from what for others is and will most likely remain just a dream. You have a golden opportunity to once and for all live a life of abundance, freedom, and happiness. Don't throw your life away to the vicious and never-ending cycle of overthinking. Tomorrow morning can be either one more morning like any other morning in your life up until today, or an occasion to celebrate a brand new phase in your life. And before I go, remember this. With my 60 days, unconditional, no questions asked, money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose, but a brand new future of abundance to gain. Click on the order button below this video to get Ancient Rome Decoded with the 2 exclusive bonuses. That's a value of over $200. Yours for only $39. I'll see you on the other side.